what I'm freaking talking about. Oh, there it is. What's going on? Wednesday morning here, coming at you with this week's Fish Jeff County Fishing Report from Douglas Lake. Me and Jacob Frazier fished Tuesday nighter last night. Ended up second place, almost come home with the win. And I want to bring you guys kind of the live lake conditions. You know, the lake is full. It's been falling for the last week and the week before that when it got really flooded. We had a lot of spring rain, and so they've been bringing the lake down, which created a lot of current flow. Now what's happened this week is that they seem to have gotten it to a level where they're okay with it, so that current flow is kind of reduced. And so the fish are offshore really good, but they're kind of getting tricky to bite. And so, those evening hours, a lot of times they'll pull more water, so the fishing is a little bit better. Last night they weren't pulling a ton. And so, when you're faced with those conditions, with a lot of fish offshore, but not a lot of current flow to generate feeding, you gotta fish for reaction bites. And I know we talked about reaction bites a little bit last week on pressured fish, and it's kind of the same concept. And so really, there were only 3 baits that we could get these fish to fire on. Now where we're finding these fish, the ends of places where these fish are trying to ambush, bait and places like that. So it's usually current-based places because the current has been rolling really strong. And so it's a point that meets a channel. You'll see a sharp drop on the end of it that creates a hard spot up on top. And you can find those places just by looking at your map. I use Lake Master mapping, it's great. Navionics is good, C-Maps is good. So looking at your mapping and seeing those areas where you've got a long drawn out point or even a tight point that meets a channel and has a sharp drop, those are areas the bait fish will use, areas the fish will wait. When that bait comes up over the top, you can actually see that on live scope nowadays, a bait ball come up over top of this point and you'll see a lot of activity. Now what happens when that happens, you need to get a bait on them quick. And so we've been using a couple different things. For one, I've been coming at them with a jigging spoon. That's a little War Eagle jigging spoon. I think this is a 5/8. I've been using the 7/8 some as well. With that jigging spoon, when you see that bait come up, you can pitch it at them and it gets down there really fast. You can pop it up, get them to bite it. We've also been using a Magnum spoon. So it seems like that spoon has kind of been the key lately. And I think the reason so is you can fish it so fast and really get those fish to fire when they might not want to. This is a 6-inch Mini Mag Ben Parker spoon. On the big one, I'm throwing it on 20-pound line, 7.3 heavy rod, a fast reel, an 8 to 5. On the little jigging spoon, I'm throwing 12-pound Seaguar VizX on just a medium action rod. It's got treble hooks, really small hooks. You want to use something that's pretty soft so you can keep those fish pinned. So when you find those fish on the end of those long points, it's been 22 to 25 foot of water, pretty deep. You want a bait that can get down to them, and the spoon does a great job of that. Can't get bit on a crankbait for whatever reason. The current flow, you can't reel it fast enough to get them to react. That spoon, you can kind of make them bite even though they don't want to. And then we've been catching some fish on a drop shot, just your traditional, 1/4 ounce weight, number 2 Hayabusa drop shot hook with a pink robo worm, and throwing it out there and dragging it on these schools of fish and getting some bites that way. So that's what's going on in Douglas Lake. I hope that helps. I appreciate y'all keeping up with the channel, and let me know what you want to see next. Appreciate you.